How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good day, and today we're going to be discussing the tanking strategy for Huntsman Altimor on normal and heroic difficulty. Now, this fight is a little bit different to other fights. As I said, tanking this expansion is really fun, especially in the raid. So for this fight, you're going to have like a first phase with one of the bears, which is like a taunt swap mechanic. The other one is movement based, and then the third one is also movement based, but in a different way. So I'll tell you how we pretty much handled it. So in the first phase, one of the tanks will be dealing with a bear called Margot, and all this bear does is it applies a stacking debuff to the tanks called Jagged Claws, which does 21k damage on an initial hit, and it applies a 5k bleeding dot, which ticks every 5 seconds for 30 seconds. You want to taunt on about 2 stacks of this, and depending on the capabilities of your raid, there's a good chance that the bear could actually be down or very nearly down by the time the tank gets his second stack. So with everyone popping their openers, I don't think this is absolutely mandatory, but if your raid struggles to DPS it down a little bit, then I definitely recommend taunting on 2 stacks, because 3 can get a little bit dicey. But other than that, we don't really have anything to worry about in the first phase as far as it goes for tanking. So let's move on to the second phase. When the first bear dies, you'll actually deal with Barghast next, which is the second bear. Now, Barghast does 2 abilities that we have to look out for. So the first ability being Rip Soul, which creates an aberration that needs to be healed. So the healing required on this aberration depends on the tank's health when we're actually hit by Rip Soul. So when this is coming up, we want to make sure that we have mitigations popped, just to make it a little bit smoother on the healers, because we don't want the healers to stop healing everybody else to heal this thing up. I'm lucky enough to be a prot paladin, so I can throw heals passively on it as well, so I can help out a little bit, but some tanks aren't that lucky. And yeah, basically you just want to keep mitigation up. Make sure that you're prepared for this, because the less health that you have, the harder it's going to be for the healers to heal this thing up, because it also does ticking damage. So yeah, just make sure you're topped up for that. Even ask for it, like you could even call for an external cooldown if you needed to. Just make sure that you're not too low when this hits, because it also does hit quite hard as well. And the second mechanic that we have to look out for in the second phase are the Shades of Barghast. So basically what we did is we stacked him up against a pillar, or one of the sides of the room. And when he cast Shades of Barghast, we had 2 mages polymorph the shades, and I would move from the side of the room to the door until those ads were ready to be killed. When those ads were ready to start being killed, I'd head back over to that position in case we spawn the second one, so that we could stack them in the same place again, finish the huntsman, and then move on to phase 3. So like I say, all you have to do is you have to bait the spawns of the shades, get people to CC them, and move the bear away, so you don't passively like AoE one of them and accidentally cause one of the CCs to break, because it can cause a wipe if people aren't prepared to handle that. So yeah, just move away, nice and safe distance, and when the dogs are about to be killed, if you need to, move back. Once the second bear is dead, we'll actually move on to Hecutis, which I think that's how you say it. I'm honestly not too sure, but yeah, Hecutis is a little bit more simple, I'd say, in how it works. It's more or less just you have to manage it really well. And too much movement can kill you, and too little movement can kill you. You've got to manage it really well. So Hecutis gets this crushing stone buff, which is basically a stacking damage buff for 25% increased damage per stack. So eventually he starts hitting really hard, and how he gets this is standing still. He's going to keep getting this buff as he stood still, and what you have to do is you have to you basically have to kite the boss, or the bear, sorry, a little bit. Not too much, because every time that this stack drops, whenever it moves, it does massive raid wide damage, and you don't want to be catching the healers off guard with that, especially not having any healing cooldowns. You want to try and keep it nice and managed. I usually try and let him get to 4 or 5 stacks and then move him at once with a healing cooldown. So we could do that about maybe 4 or 5 times, depending on the composition or something like that, but just try and make sure that it stays manageable. You don't want the stacks to get too high, because he will one-shot you, and you also don't want to keep the stacks, you know, like keep moving the stacks when you don't need to. You don't need to see him get to 3 stacks and then take him back to 2, because it's unnecessary healing that needs to be done. Like, you can be healed through that. It's about, I'd say, about between 3 and 5, maybe move him a little bit depending on how your raid is. But yeah, that pretty much covers this boss from top to bottom, guys, as a tank. Hopefully you enjoyed the guide. If you need any more assistance or anything like that, then please ask in the comments below, and I'll try and answer questions as best I can. If you enjoyed the guide and you found it helpful, then please do leave a like. That would also be massively appreciated. And as always, if you want to see some more guides, please do subscribe and let me know. But that's been it for today, guys. Take it easy. Thanks again for watching, and bye now.